Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Rhatigan Real Estate. My name is Andrew Rhatigan and I'm an agent in real estate based in Ireland. So be gentle with me, please. I wanted to start this channel to drive value for other people. I am not doing a sneaky pitch. I am not trying to sell you a product. All I want to do is connect with other people in Ireland and around the world to be able to learn from them and drive as much value as possible. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the decisions you make when you are selling your property. Simple things that people maybe overlook, and I hope they're of some value to you. I'm going to keep this episode short and sweet so you can listen to it on the go, and if it's not interesting, switch it off and go to someone awesome like Gary Vaynerchuk. Firstly, you have to understand your why. Now, I'm not trying to pitch you a Simon Sinek book. I'm just trying to get you to understand what it is behind why you're selling. So is it a personal circumstance? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it the fact that you're moving areas, whatever it might be, to a different country? You have to get clear on why it is you're selling, because at the very beginning, you have that time and that luxury to explore why it is you are selling your property. One of the things to remember is that later on, it can build up quite fast. When people show an interest, they're only going to wait so long, and time kills all deals. So get clear on why you're selling. Your second one would be your how. How are you going to do it? What is it how are you going to plan it? In terms of your timeline, are you under pressure? Do you have 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks? Did you maybe leave it a bit late to have this discussion? You can't worry about those things, but you have to think about your how. So what is it that how are you going to get to that stage? And that dictates when you're preparing your house, when you're engaging with an agent, and also preparing your children and anyone else who might be involved in the process. The next one would be your who. Now, by this, I am not trying to sell what it is I do. I just think it's important to maybe lift the veil or start that conversation on who you should be looking for when you're dealing with looking at an agent. It's important to go beyond the fee. So it's not, I would look at it as it's fee versus fit. So money is great, cheap. You might get someone who charges you a very cheap rate and they turn out to be a stellar agent, or you could have someone who charges you an exorbitant amount of money and doesn't deliver. It's like dating. You need to meet someone, you need to get a sense of them, you need them to listen to what it is you want, because your journey is different to everybody else's, because you see it yourself in a different way. And it's important to delve into those questions. Don't be afraid to push an agent to justify things. Don't be afraid to get an understanding of how it is they're going to approach your sale, because they're the ones that are going to be working super close with you throughout this entire process. So don't be afraid to shop around, but always, 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 in my opinion, look beyond the money, because that person isn't getting the money until you sell your house. So you need someone who's going to be with you in the trenches, working on your behalf and guiding you through the process that you may not have either done before, or you may not have done it for 20 years. So don't be afraid to shop around and look beyond the money. The next thing I would say is your what next. So in terms of your what next, a lot of people think that's it. They've had a great day and they've decided to sell their property, or they've had a bad Christmas and they said never again. You need to figure out what you're going to be doing next. That isn't to scare you. That is simply to get you to look at your plan, your roadmap. When you look at the next stages of the process, if you were selling your house today and you get an awesome offer tomorrow, do you know what you would do? Maybe not. So maybe it's important to look at the next steps in terms of, firstly, do you have to sell your house before you can buy your next property? That's going to then impact how you shop for property again, and your agent should always advise you on that. Do you have a property that you need to rent? Do you have family that you can move in with? Are there things you can do to soften the blow if someone does make an offer and momentum builds up? It's important to assess these things as best you can. Life happens when you're busy making plans, but it's about exploring what it is that you can do to help other people guide you. So if I don't know what you're doing, I can't help you. And by you telling me what you're hoping to achieve, I can either bring you down to earth a little bit, or I can say that's perfect. We're working within a certain timeline, whether that be photos, advertising, promotion, viewings, setting a tone with people who are actually interested in your property. So the biggest thing I would say from this standpoint is just get a sense of what it is you feel you would like to do later on. Now, if you have the luxury of having another empty house somewhere, you don't have to worry about it. But if you aren't too sure, I think it's worth sitting down with your significant other or yourself or whoever it may be that you trust and just discussing it, because then at the least it's not going to be a super shocking surprise. And lastly, in terms of what it is I hope to achieve with this channel and with coming online and interacting with people, I believe, although I sell property and although that's my living, I really, really enjoy building relationships with other people. I enjoy driving as much value for other people as I can and connecting and learning from others. I would absolutely love to hear from anyone who has any questions, any advice, wants to start a conversation about something, or if I can help in any other capacity, I'm delighted. I think in this day and age, it's important to do as much as we can to help one another, because that's how we build relationships. And join me next week where I'm going to be discussing something else to do with property. What a surprise.